Welcome, Dadas all over Kenya. Happy New Year and Happy New Decade. It's 2020. And if you're like me, you're excited to be alive. You're excited to do new things. Today we want to talk about New Year's resolutions. Because every year we wake up and we resolve we're going to do more, we're going to go further, we'll be better people. And so if you're like me, you begin going to church, you begin taking life a little more seriously, you go to the gym, but by April you have resorted back to your normal DNA. You are doing everything you did last year exactly the same. So let's talk about New Year's resolutions. And to break this down, as always, I want to introduce my first guest of the year. Karibu sana, Dorcus. You are guest number 1.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
Guest number 1, 2020, in a whole new decade. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you, Pauline and Dadas Show. My name is Dorcus Mathu, as you said, and I am a life coach, a corporate trainer, and a motivational speaker.
Okay.
Yes.
Aren't you a bit too young, Dorcus, to be doing all these big things?
I think when you have a plan, and again, if it comes from your heart,
Okay.
satisfaction follows.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter your age. You can dream at 40, you can dream at 50, you can dream at 20. It matters
Okay.
when you work on the action plan.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are the perfect person to begin this conversation. And I wanted us to begin with yourself. When did you realize that you were making decisions or you were making resolutions like the rest of us who are not as clever? When did it dawn on you that you were making resolutions that you were not keeping? Was there a time in your life that you were making resolutions and you were wondering, why is it by April I have resorted back to my original format?
For me, in 2017, that's the time I realized, oh, life is not a joke. It's not a matter of writing and forgetting or just mentioning and not remembering. So I decided to be keen and intentional with what I did. Therefore, that's the time I realized I had to be serious with my plans.
Okay.
Yes.
Before that, what were you doing?
Oh, before that, I was just visiting the crossover parties and occasions
Okay.
where we would also be told mostly to plan our year. Imagine you're in congregation if you're a religious person.
Yes, you are in church.
You're in church.
People are shouting.
Shouting, hey, celebrate 2020 coming. Here it is. Make your New Year's resolutions. And you would say, oh God, I want to be this. I want to achieve this. I want to achieve this. And then after that day, you will remember at the end of the year that you had mentioned something. So it was so frustrating. And I decided to be intentional in what I was doing. I realized I had to write down. I used to, actually nowadays I sit down alone very early in the morning.
On the first day or the last day?
It depends when I feel to make the
Okay.
plan for the year.
Okay.
I don't make year in terms of the annual preparation because I know the plans I made in 2017 are the ones I'm still working on up to today.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So there are some plans you made in 2017. Some of them have not yet come to pass, so you're still working on them.
Yes, I believe when you have a plan, write the deadline. Even if it will take you 5 years, if it's an investment for 5 years, pursue it.
Okay.
At the end of 5 years, you say, my year resolution or my plan has come to accomplishment.
Okay.
So
So could you share with us 2017? Because this was like your turning point when you realized this, I have to now change the way I do things. So you had your 2017 plans. Would you be kind enough to share some of them with the Dadas out there? What were some of them?
I sat down and realized that when I was at school, I used to be in counseling department, and I looked back and realized I can do something that will make me satisfied and happy. I realized I can become a coach, and I wanted to become a coach.
How did you know about coaching? How did you know about coaching? First of all, because coaching is a pretty new career. It's not the counselor we know, Because I think many counselors are found even in churches.
Yes.
So you are told go to the prayer counselor or the counseling department. How did you know about coaching?
Interestingly, mine is vice versa. I came to learn about coach before I came to learn about a counselor.
Okay.
So the way you see something online and you realize this is a coach, I didn't know what a coach is by then, but this is a program I would like to pursue.
Okay.
So I took risk, but before that I planned for it because I looked at the cost. I planned for it. It's so funny when you have a plan for maybe you want to achieve something that will cost you 500,000 and you don't have the amount, yet you're not planning on how to get the amount. So it's a fake resolution or plan.
Yeah.
Therefore, I came to learn about it after seeing the advertisement somewhere, and I took keen a note of that. I wrote it down, and I saw it in 2015.
Okay, so you saw it
The
2 years
advert.
before.
Yes.
Okay.
I said, when I get my first job, I would like to pursue this. When I got the first job in 2017, I reached out. And from then, I planned on how to achieve the coaching sessions as a coachee before I became a coach.
Okay.
And my coach has helped me then, because that's when I learned about planning.
Okay.
So that was my turning point.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you sometimes wonder, and this is, do you sometimes realize that many people will do many things or think many things but never really plan for them? What's the difference between having a thought about something and really planning about it?
The difference between having a thought and really planning for it, I always say attach a reason to everything that you're doing.
Okay.
Why are you planning for this?
Okay.
In your to-do list, why are you writing it down? Because
Okay.
there's power in writing. I told you before 2017, I used to think, name it, and not write down or follow through.
You are naming it and claiming it,
Yes.
but you are not writing it.
I was not doing it. No,
Okay.
it's like sleeping and waiting for something
Manna.
to come.
Yeah.
So I learned that when you want to achieve something, attach a reason and the
Okay.
value.
Okay.
You'll definitely pursue it. I always ask a question, what motivates you during your low season? If you had a resolution that will come to a low point or low season, what will keep you going?
Okay.
If you have a reason, you'll still wake up and go on.
Okay, I hear you. So what you're saying is I have to see the end, have a clear end goal. Because I'll tell you one of my resolutions that I've had, which I've never achieved. I've always wanted to lose many kilos. Do you know how many times I've thought about it? I've dreamt about it. But maybe I don't have enough reason to then stay in the gym. I can't explain. The pain for me, when the pain comes, I give up. And I go back to, I'm just like, this pain is too much for me. Let me go back to my old life. Could it be because I don't have a clear vision, or could it be because I'm not highly motivated? I don't know. What do you think is the reason?
As you speak, I'm just hearing the part where I'm just curious to know, have you established what works for you? Because gym can work for me, gym can work for you, or maybe cannot work for others.
Okay.
So if gym cannot work for you, what can work for, what will work for you? If it's swimming, if it's dancing, if it's yoga, if it's walking or running, what will fit you? There's no one size fits all.
Oh, okay.
And I always say we were born differently. We have different birthdays. We have different desires, goals. And again, it's a season for everyone. So it depends with the season.
Okay.
So my concern or my urge is just find what works for you.
Oh, okay. I've never thought about it like that. So my gym instructor now knows that I'm not paying again come January. I was just about to go back and do what I normally do. So the one thing, you wanted to become a coach, you became a coach. Is there any other thing that you were thinking about in 2017?
Yes, I looked my goal in long-term perspective.
Okay.
When I engaged my coach, I knew at the end of it all, even my first email I sent, I mentioned I want to be a coach at the end of it all. I didn't mention a coach. Actually, I mentioned to help people, but I would like to be paid. I didn't know how to express it, but I had the passion and feeling. So I went through the coaching program for 6 months. I knew my 2018, I finished in 2018, so I knew my 2018 will also be something to think about. I desired to go for coaching sessions, for training. I didn't manage to get the money, but I found out how. At the end of it, in October 2018, I got a school, enrolled, started in January 2019, and here I am, few months to be certified.
Okay.
So I pursued and carried all the activities and all the assignments. I think that's how I did it in 20.
So from
19,
2017.
Yes, 2017,
yeah.
I transitioned to 2018 looking for opportunities, and now here I am. I pursued in 2019. 2020 is here.
Okay. So you are looking forward to now becoming a certified life coach and to begin now working as a life coach, isn't it?
Yes.
But this is a goal you began in 2017.
Yes.
Is there any other goal perhaps you had? Because normally we have a list. Did you have any others?
Yes. I had a list.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I wanted to register a company. The feeling of being a CEO in 20-something years, that feeling was in me.
Okay.
I believe in pursuing my goals and whatever I write down. So I planned to register in 2018. The plan was made in 2017. As I said, my plans go for years. I came and registered in 2018. Unfortunately, I've not done any business with it.
Okay.
The reason why, out of planning, out of emotions.
Okay. So that particular one fell a bit on its
Yes,
face.
that fell.
Okay.
I came to learn in 2019. That was not where my heart was.
Okay.
So I had to go back to the drawing board. I chose what my path was and then went with the registration towards where my heart is.
You seem to have very clear plans about your career. Can you plan relationships? Because those, in a sense, depend on other people. But can you say, I hear some like, I want to be married in the next 2 years. Is that a genuine plan? Is that going to work, do you think? Or are you just putting it out there in the universe? I hear you can put out things in the universe.
Yes. I'm a strong believer of the law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
When I mention I want to do something, it comes to me.
Okay.
It comes to me.
Okay, so if you put out you want a husband, do you put out his qualities and do you think he'll come?
Oh, yes, but anyway, you can sleep and get it done.
Okay.
If you know the rule of having a person in your life, then follow the rules.
Okay.
If you don't know, research. I hear many people saying, if you are a young person, you are looking for friends and maybe a person to be in a relationship with,
Okay.
why don't you get out? Be in church, be in parties, be where they are. And again, who do you want to meet? If you want to meet someone who is a working class or who is in a certain industry, why don't you go to that industry?
Okay, so be more outgoing.
Be more outgoing.
And be intentional when you're looking for the person. So don't just say, in 2020 I want to be married, or in 2021 I'll be married, but you're not looking for a spouse.
Yes, and another challenge is, I always challenge people, you want a prayerful person, you want a person who's going to church, you want a person who is hardworking.
You want a person with money.
You want a person with money. My question is to the person who is looking for this person. Are you the things that you're mentioning? Because like attract like.
So if I'm poor, I'll hardly ever get a rich man. Is that what you're saying?
Even
if I go and hang out at the rich people's places.
Let me say being poor is something that comes and goes.
Okay.
So that's something that you can work on.
Okay.
If you want a person who is honest, are you honest?
Yes, okay.
So the character and values and every principle that you look forward to have it achieved, I think for you, just have a check and also know your temperament. For example, if you are a melancholic person, choleric, or you are any other kind of, maybe you're sanguine, what kind of a person are you looking for? So that you'll be able to handle the person as well as the person handles you. So it's always good to have a personal evaluation.
Okay. When you talk about the personality types, maybe you could explain them a little more, because you've just kind of said them. There are, I think, four types of personalities.
Yes.
Could you explain them a little more?
Oh, yes. I'll start with melancholic because it's not commonly mentioned. Melancholic are these analytic people. You know, they like analysis. They are quiet sometimes. Some of them are extrovert. They are quiet. They think a lot. You might find them in a room thinking time. Then when you go to sanguine, you have a person who is outgoing, always happy in parties, a person who does not take life very, very serious as people would see from outside, but maybe the person is very serious. So they are these outgoing and outspoken, talkative people. When you go to choleric, they are people who are in leadership. If I define them, I'll take them to be lions. They take leadership. If we are in a group, they will definitely take that point where they say, let's start doing this and have this task done.
Okay.
When we have phlegmatic, we have people who are very focused. From outside, they seem to be lazy, but they are very, very focused.
Okay.
Yes, those are the 4 types.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think our viewers have learned something, I hope. So when you are out there looking, I think sometimes I must add that different personalities attract. I mean, it's very hard for 2 sanguines to be attracted to each other, isn't it? Or 2 cholerics, because somehow God ordered it that you are right the person who is opposite your personality, the opposite personality is attracted to you and you're attracted to them. So you'll find, and I suppose that's why marriage becomes a lot more interesting, because the 2 of you are so different.
Yes.
Yes. So, but I wanted to now continue with our discussion about the resolutions. Young people, because you're a young person in your 20s, normally don't seem to be very interested in planning.
Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody thinks there's plenty of time to have a good time. They'll plan later. What is your thought about that?
I'll go with this thought where when I speak to people, especially the young people, I tell them, work like a donkey for a few years and live like a king the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Or live like a king or queen right now for a few years and then live like a donkey or miserable life. So if you plan today, you definitely have a good future. It's not assured you'll be alive, but definitely your future will be nice. Why? If you've planned to go back for academic work, why don't you go back now? Imagine you are 40, 50 years old, you're going for masters, and then your son is going to high school.
Mm.
Right now, the school fees, there's a normal child or normal school maybe, we can say 30,000 or 40,000 right now. So your master's and your high school fee will not really balance.
Okay.
So I just tell people, you're in different season, different age, but make sure you plan it as early as you can.
Okay. So plan early.
Plan, and again, plan to be able to achieve them.
Okay.
You can't plan unrealistic goals.
Mm.
Find a way to achieve them. Do you have a strategy? Do you have a deadline? Yes. As young as we are, we can say, I want to buy a certain car. I want to buy a certain house. By when? Then we start.
Yeah.
I have not thought about it, but I want a house. By when? How much? So quantify everything. Okay. Quantify.
Do you feel sometimes that our education system does not prepare us to be people who plan and execute things?
Sometimes we might go to that direction, but I think the moment you realize yourself, you're able to achieve anything. There are people who have not gone to school and they have achieved a lot of things. I don't advocate for people not to go to school, but I mean, like, the old parents didn't go to school, but they have big acres of land. They have big houses. They have educated us. They have taken care of us, and they are living a happy life.
Okay.
So I think let's not blame. I don't believe in blaming Serikali's idea.
Yeah, Serikali, that's what I was trying to say. I think I was trying to ask you, do you think we have the mentality that somebody is going to come and save us?
No.
Especially women. I think women, we get the Cinderella, it's called the Cinderella complex. Somebody will come and save us and take us away from our problems.
Oh yes, I'll get married to a rich man.
Yes.
Yes, I'll finish school. I have an uncle who will get me a job.
Yes.
Serikali will send me some amount for youth fund.
Yes.
I'll go get money and start my business.
Okay.
My MP will come for me and take me to where I'm supposed to be.
We'll be saved. Somebody will
No.
come and save us.
What I say is that no one knows that you exist. Please know yourself and get out there.
Okay. That's a nice place to end, Dadas. No one knows you're out there, so there's no need for you to be entitled. You'll actually have to go out there and get the job done yourself. So we're going into a break. We'll be right back with Eileen, who will continue to break this down further. Don't go too far. Welcome back, Dadas. Today we are talking about New Year's resolutions. We've just had Dorcus share with us her life story about her turnaround. And now we've been joined by Eileen. Eileen, I always ask people to introduce themselves because I never do them justice. So please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Pauline. Thanks for inviting me. My name is Eileen Laskar. I work for an organization called CDI Africa Coaching Group. I'm the CEO. But off work, I think the most important thing is that I'm a daughter of them. I'm most loved daughter of God.
Amen.
I am a mother of 3, boys or men. Yeah.
They're men now.
They're now men, I think, because when you have a 23-year-old, that's a man now, and a wife, and a sister. I mean, there is so much around my life. But what I do on a daily basis, I offer executive and leadership coaching services. I'm an international executive and leadership coach and a master certified coach by ICF. And I also train coaches. So I'm in the business of multiplying coaches for the region.
Wow. So when Dorcas, when you grew up, you want to be Eileen, Cindy?
And
So
the young ones are growing very fast.
I know,
so, yeah.
Eileen, when she grows up, she wants to be you. So I think my point is, we're talking about resolutions, and I know you've listened to us. We're talking about every year, we begin with a bang, and then we backslide. We backslide. It's a human condition. What are your thoughts about this?
I was thinking about this whole conversation, and I have a lot of reflections about what do I believe about resolutions. I think more and more, I'm losing my faith in New Year resolutions.
You are.
Because of the fact that it's like a fad. 1st of the January in every year. Actually, that first night, people start saying, my New Year resolutions are this and that. What does the word resolution really mean? It means a truly committed decision. It's not just
truly committed
decision. Meaning, it's not something you're doing as a by the way because others are doing it. It's coming from the depths of your heart and soul that you want to do something different. So if it's not coming from that place, then we are simply joining a choir, and then we join the gym. We start doing prayers. We do many things, but soon before the first quarter of the year, we are back to we're back to our DNA.
Yeah, DNA.
You know?
Yeah.
So for me, resolutions don't happen with the first day of the year.
Yeah.
Resolutions happen because at a personal level, you've had deep reflections about something, maybe the outcomes you're seeing in your life, maybe the actions you've done and the outcomes you've gotten, and deciding, is this the way I want to continue doing things? Is this the outcome I want to continue getting in life? And as a result, then you're able to say, if the answer is no, then what do I want to do differently? It's coming from a deep place, not because other people are doing it. Sometimes resolutions also happen because of events that happen in your life. Something happens, and it totally shifts your thinking, it shifts your worldview, and as a result, then you find yourself sometimes almost instantaneously changing the way you think and the way you look at things and the way you do things. So for me, I think also coming from a point of coaching clients, people are always making resolutions. So it's not a 1st of January every year thing, but then they're coming from a point of either an event in life or a deep reflection or even somebody challenging you and you're like, wow, I hadn't thought about it that way. And me being a believer, sometimes the Lord will also challenge me about something. And as a result, then I resolve at that point, and with the help of the Holy Spirit, to do things differently. So for me, resolutions is not a New Year thing, and a resolution is not a plan. Those are two different things.
Explain that. A resolution is not a plan. What do you mean? I thought a resolution is a plan. Ishish. Okay.
So if I resolved to stop, I had you talk about weight loss.
Yes.
If
This, you must help me with this. So I resolve that I'm going to lose 20 kilos.
So then you need a plan. So those are two different things.
Yes, so that's the next thing. I need
Exactly.
a plan.
So when you make some things that don't even require a plan. There are people who wake up and resolve, I'm not going to take alcohol anymore. I know of somebody who, just by seeing their father die out of liver cancer, and he used to drink a lot, just watching the father in pain, they at that moment resolved, no more alcohol. There was no plan involved. It's just like, this is what this can do to me. I'm losing my father because of this. It is done. I'm not going to do this again. All right. I have coached a client who also, I don't want to go to the stories of the client because I have so many stories I can talk about. But what I'm trying to say is that an event can happen in your life and it instantaneously changes the way you do things, and you resolve there on, without even thinking that you're resolving, but you make a resolution. So there are some that are instantaneous, the others that we do that are long-term, and the long-term ones, now those ones require a plan to follow through, and then, some form of accountability. And if some of them will require resources, then you actually figure out how you're going to get those resources. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's how to separate resolution from a plan.
Okay. My big question is also that when you resolve to do something, normally, of course, it's for the better. Well, we hope that you are resolving to change for the better, because for most of the time, you want to be a better person or to do things in a better way, or you want, because the worst thing is to do the same thing over and over again. Madness is repeating 2019 in 2020.
And hoping to get
different results. But my question to you is, why is it so difficult for us to resolve to change?
Because if it's not coming from an inner motivation, if it's not coming from a place of inner motivation and something that you really want to do differently, then it's very superficial. So it depends on the depth of the motivation. And so, for example, when I coach my clients that they want to make a shift in their lives, I always start by asking them, why is this important for you? And I'm telling you, Pauline, if the motivation is not deep enough, you can tell even from their body language. And when motivation is deep, you can actually see them go deep. And I can tell at that moment, this is a resolution being made here.
Before I come to you, I wanted to ask, sometimes you coach companies, institutions, and I think at the institutional level, that's where you see the most desperate need for change, because sometimes companies are falling apart. Sometimes companies are at the verge of closing down, and there's a need for a whole mind shift. But you can literally see the culture of the people there, the struggle to change. And the corporate level of change is very slow. Is that, what would you say to that? How would you speak to that?
First, let me take you back. We do take corporate coaching engagements, but we coach one person at a time.
Oh, I see.
Most of the time it's one person, because you don't change the world by multitudes. It's one person at a time.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
But we also do coach teams, but then it's got to be on a very common agenda. So if you're sitting here and your team was coaching a team, then we've got to be clear, where are we going as a team together? All right? But even as we do so, it's got to have a personal meaning. So the way we actually structure our corporate engagements, they do have a thing about self. They do have a thing about the organization, because if you make it about the organization, then it positive motivation is not deep enough for me as an individual. So then I'll attend this thing because I'm thinking about the compliance thing.
Because that's
as
what
op-
we do, isn't
exactly,
it?
as
There's
opposed
a
to
change management thing. We all show up, we tick a box, then we go back and hang our coats and do whatever it is we did last year.
it actually belongs to the sponsor. Whoever had actually put this thing, it could be HR or whoever was the sponsor, becomes the owner, not the people. And I think that's how we miss it most of the time. Because when culture does not change with, it's not an animal that's amorphous. It's actually individuals starting to shape from their mindset and knowing why the change is important for them, how it affects them at individual levels, the kind of changes they need to make to align to the change, and then saying from a deeply committed place, yes, I'm willing to actually walk this journey.
Dorcas, listening to Eileen, she used interesting words: reflective, deep thinking, things that I don't think are very commonplace, especially with young people. What do you feel about the things she's talking about?
The words that she's using are resonating with me. As a young person, I think we don't have me time. Me time.
Me time.
Yes. What am I thinking about? Where am I going? What do I want? Asking yourself the hard questions and pushing yourself extra mile or go beyond. I think we don't have that time to reflect. We are on the road looking for money, looking for deals, yes, but you don't have time to think about you yourself within you.
Eileen, we live in a very noisy culture. Very, very noisy. Very, very fast. Okay, we call it fast. Microwave. Everything is moving very quickly. We don't have time to do the things you're asking us to do. Deeply reflect. And I wonder sometimes, maybe that's why we don't make lasting change. What would be your take on that?
I pick on we don't have time. How true is that we don't have time? The truth is that we all have 24 hours. And the things that we value, we create time for them. The truth is, times are demanding on us. There is so much that is demanded on each one of us. And there is so much to be done. So if you're not intentional about carving out that space for reflection, then you're denying yourself a huge, huge impetus to take you where you want to go in life. And today, it doesn't help that the noise we have is actually self-instigated. How many WhatsApp groups are you in? What things are you getting from those groups every morning? So people wake up, and I've been talking about this, even couples, instead of saying good morning to each other, they reach out for their phone to catch up with the world. But as you're catching up with the world, you are losing yourself. When are you catching up with you? So that time for reflecting is time to catch up with me and just check in. Where am I at? What is going on? What is my inner me telling me? If you're a believer, it's catching up with the word of God. It's prayer time, it's worship time. It's just checking in what does God want me to do for this season. So I think time will always be 24 hours. It cares for no one. It has no emotion. It's just how do you carve out time for that reflective space?
Yeah.
And if we all did that and created a discipline to do so, then I think a lot of time we waste doing other things would go into more productive things that add value into our lives.
I think I also wanted to talk about this coaching. Both of you this is an aspiring coach. You are, you're an internationally recognized certified coach. It's a new word. We've heard about counselor. We don't know about coaches. What do coaches do? Why do we need them? And do they cost a lot? I mean, like if I wanted to consult one.
One of the things we teach in coaching is that one question at a time. So you asked me 3 questions. So I'll pick up, maybe connecting with the reflection.
Yes.
One of the things that coaches do offer their clients is that reflection space. A trusted, confident that you can talk to, you can soundboard, and you can actually get to ask yourself, what am I thinking about now? And why am I thinking the way I am thinking? What do I think about my thinking? I mean, that's the kind of space I offer the leaders who come to me for coaching. But it also then provides some sort of an accountability mechanism that then makes you follow through on the things that you have actually committed to do. So asking about coaching and counseling, I would say they are we call them cousin professions. So counselors, most of the time, they'll deal with people who are more in a space of emotional pain, and they're trying to get, they want to get back into what's the cause and try to find healing. And most of the time they go back to the past to look at what's the source, what's the root cause of this, and how can we then address it. I know in the recent past there is an emerging part of counseling that is very preventative, like we're not waiting until we're in the depths. Let's look at like a sort of a health check to see where you are emotionally before it can get to a place where we are going to so many places back, all right? Now, coaching, on the other hand, it doesn't much go to the past. You only refer to the past to the extent that it is useful for a lesson that takes us forward.
Okay.
All right? So it's a new emerging profession. It's about 20, in a structured nature, about maybe 25 years or so, and it's about igniting the greatness in the people. It's about clearing your windshield. It's about being able to set your signals. You can see clearly where you're coming. Just more of clearing your windshield, see what you're seeing ahead and how you can move forward. It's about listening to your inner self and making what I call the committed, looking for your motivation, making very, very committed decisions. So it's not a training. It's not a mentorship. It comes from a philosophy of believing you have greatness in you, and what you need to do is to give you space. Just like flower needs light to bloom, it's the same thing. You need some space to bloom from within. And that's what coaches provide. And I do have a coach as well, because I'm a human being. First and foremost, I'm a human being before I'm a coach. And I also need that space to reflect and look for those things that matter to me and make resolutions that I need to make.
Okay.
And for me, it's an ongoing journey. Some resolutions are small, others are big.
Okay. You also have a coach, Dorcus. What has your relationship been with your coach been?
I have a coach. I had two.
Two coaches?
Yes. One, we had a contract for 6 months, and the other one is ongoing, and she's not based in Kenya. So I have also put my eyes, and that has really encouraged me, and I have been able to register an organization called Potential Accelerator to help people in terms of coaching, where I am a coach.
Okay.
I've not got to a point when I grow up.
When you grow
I'll
up,
definitely
when you
like
grow
to
up,
be-
you want to be Eileen.
Yes, so
Okay.
I've not got to a point where I'm able to train, but I'm able to coach.
Okay.
So that creating that moment where a person is able to speak and reflect and know why they're existing. When I see people walk around, I see potential walking. So I believe in people's potential.
Okay. Which leads me to this one, Eileen. There's a new philosophy. I don't want to call it a philosophy. That everybody is great. Everybody has greatness in them. Everybody can do so much more than they're doing. The greatest place where there's the greatest potential is the grave, Miles Monroe. And sometimes, I sit at home and I wonder, is everybody really great? And is there greatness really in everyone? Or are we just pushing the button and trying to make everybody feel nice? And if everybody requires, and you said one question at a time, okay.
I know.
Yes, so let me stop myself. So one question at a time. Is everybody really great?
The answer is a resounding yes. I am a believer. I don't know what you believe in, Pauline, but we are all made by God. And man has been made in the likeness of God. So if your God is not great, then you cannot see the greatness in people. But if God is your Father and you believe in the greatness of God, the Creator, then every human being is great. It's just that our greatness, just like we have different plants blooming in different places. So our greatness could be for a different environment. And so even when I coach in organizations, then I tell people the fact that I'm not doing well in finance, maybe I need to check. Maybe finance is not my thing. Is that degree that I was forced to take by my parents? But that's not. And it could be from a place of skill or passion. So find where this flower can bloom. I do have a lot of plants in my house, and I keep changing to just check where does this plant fit in better. And sometimes you'll find just a little difference, between inside the house at the window, at the bay, and outside the window. It makes a big difference. And it's just, you'd imagine the same place, but it's just a slight move, or a corner that has a bit of more shade, or there are flowers that like morning sun, not afternoon sun. So it's really knowing where can this person thrive, because the greatness is inherent in each one of us.
It seems that everybody who's leading anybody really should be a coach. In
That's
the
true.
in the sense that this coaching is such an important aspect of life, that fathers should be coaches, mothers should be coaches, pastors should be coaches. Everybody needs to be a coach, because when you think about it, as long as your bosses should be coaches, if you're leading somebody, you need to be a coach. What would you say to that?
I don't know whether you're aware that we actually launched an award scheme last year called Coaching 360 Degrees.
No, I'm not.
And what we are trying to do, and which is the vision of our organization, CD Africa Coaching Group, is to weave coaching into the tapestry of our society. It's such a powerful skill that I wonder how I lived without. And when I encounter leaders who don't have the skill, you can tell the difference. And one of the greatest regrets when leaders learn about the skill is, I wish somebody taught me this. When people come for the program, you said the expense, people come and invest for value. And part of that value is who you become as a parent, who you become as a spouse, who you become as a sibling. So it's not a skill that is only applicable in some spaces. It is a life skill. We all do need it. My dream is that in this country at some point in time, we'll have coaching being part of our everyday conversation. And actually the coaching philosophy is the bedrock of how we converse and how we look at each other as human beings.
Okay. So let me go back to my original conversation as we begin to wind down. It's a new year. Where can I find a coach? Because listening to you right now, I feel I need a coach. Where can I find a coach? Where can I find somebody who can coach me to begin to think about not just 1 year, and maybe a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, the things that I value the most. Where can I look?
Luckily, at this point in time, there are more coaches than there were before. I've been in this profession for the last 13 years. This is my 14th year. And if you had asked me this question maybe 10 years ago, I'll tell you, talk to Eileen and all the couple more, but at least now we have more. We have a lot of trained coaches at CD Africa Coaching Group that have been certified and that are looking for people to coach. And some are even willing to coach pro bono, depending on whether you fit within their domain of what they love coaching on. We have ICF Kenya chapter, which also has a listing of coaches that are members of ICF and of good standing and that are available in Kenya. So reach out to cdi-africa.com and then we'll be able to give you coaches, or you can also refer to ICF Kenya chapter. They'll also have a listing of coaches that are there. Those are the two main sources that I know of. But of course, searching online, you can find many more coaches. We have hundreds of coaches available in our panel that are available to coach, and some of them have even specialties. We have coaches for the entrepreneurs, we have coaches for the religious sector, we have coaches for the schools now, we have coaches who are coaching on family life, and we have leadership and executive coaches. So we have coaches across all the sectors and across all the levels to ensure that, as I said earlier, coaching is being weaved into the tapestry of our society.
Dorcus, do you wish you are very fortunate that you are getting this information early. Do you wish sometimes that the curriculum had offered coaching in school, or you had heard about it even earlier than you've heard about it now?
Yes, I just desire that schools can be able to put that. But I think the best thing could be starting with teachers who are teaching us so that they can be able to handle us and nurture whatever is within us. For example, as she said, when we speak about coaching, is nurturing what is within you. So I think now it's possible to have it taught, but I think starting with teachers will also be the best thing to start with.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's very difficult to tell you, you need a coach. Find a coach. So it's good to create that environment for people to be intentional and reflective and then desire to get one.
I can't end without asking. We talk about toxicity in life, like toxic friends, toxic environments. It's become a thing now, you know, so and so is toxic. How important is it for you to check your, I think I'll call your pH levels in life for your health as well? Like, you know, the level of toxicity. Is that something you do with a coach or, you know, I don't know. This is just me rambling on.
I'm also trying to just get into depth of what you're asking, but it sounds to me like you're talking about self-awareness.
Yes.
Just being aware of who you are and the kind of energy that you emit and how that energy affects other people, and most importantly, how does that affect you? From experience, again, there are times people are totally unaware of their pH level, as you called it.
Yes.
And it takes feedback and being open to feedback to know, and then once you know, then working with a coach to devise ways. Not to be told what to do, but to devise ways of. Once you're aware, and as I said earlier, once you are aware, then you make a conscious, committed decision.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
I took one of those assessments last year, Bert one. It's called the Leadership Circle Profile, because it's something I was getting certified in, and the first thing I did was like, I want to understand this assessment, and I took an assessment. And it's kind of like a mirror, you know? It's like a mirror being held in front of you. So if I don't like my hair falling down, then I know I need to lift it up, you know? If I don't, I mean, it's like a spot check of where you are. And with that spot check, which is what you're calling pH level, then sometimes you get shocked at who is emerging. And better still if it's actually a 3-6 and people are giving you feedback, then it's like, this is how I actually am showing up. And most of the time, the way you are showing up could be very different from how you actually think and believe you're showing up.
That's true.
Yeah. So when you're not aware, then you can do nothing about it. But when you actually hold a mirror in front of you, then you're able to see, hey, this is not it. And so from that point of awareness and knowing how that is impacting, most importantly, you and other people that you care about, then you make a truly committed decision to start making steps to change.
Okay. I think I'll end the conversation with you, Dorcas, by asking, as we go into a new decade, 70% of Kenyans are young people, meaning that in the next 10 years, many of them will be either in their 30s or 40s. What should they know about how to plan their lives? And I know I've used a bad word, but about how to live and how to live intentionally.
As I pick from the word reflective, it's good for the person to have a me time. And again, design what do you want to be, or what do you want to achieve, or where do you want to go within the next few years. I ask people, what will you be in the next 5, 10, 20, 15, whichever number of years to come? If you know where you're going, you'll definitely be able to plan it. And again, who do you work with? I always say this, who do you work with? Who do you spend time with? Who do you consult? And who do you get in touch with? As she mentioned, people waking up and getting to the phone. It's something that distracts you from achieving your goals. Do you have a to-do list for the day? If you pick your phone, you'll definitely forget to pray, forget to write your to-do list, and you'll pick a call and come where I am because I've just called you. It's just getting out to the bus stage and you don't know where you're going. Any vehicle that comes, whether to east or to west, you'll definitely go with it. So my point is, sit down, think. What do you want to achieve in the next 1 to the number of years you want to think about? Then sit down with the right person, or sit down alone and plan on how. Write how to achieve it, put your action. If it's money, get to know how much. If it's something that you want to achieve, by when. Put a deadline.
I always end by saying this show takes me aback as much as it takes you aback. I learned so much. And for me, it's living intentionally, living my life reflectively, and not taking anything for granted. So as we plan 2020, Dadas, let's go out there, let's do our best, and let's live intentionally. We'll be back next Sunday. Kwaheri, and have a great week. Baraka.